Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Raja Umar on my channel RU Speaks. As Raja Umar speaks for you people for the subjects of global perspectives in Pakistan studies, both components history and geography. And these days we are discussing the component 2 of the Pakistan studies, that is the environment of Pakistan, simply known as geography portion. And we are going to start the new unit, that is the secondary and tertiary industry, that is related to the industrial development in Pakistan. Do not forget to subscribe my channel RU Speaks, as this is having a great stuff for you for the sake of your learning of the two subjects, Pakistan studies, both components, history, geography, and along with the global perspectives of IGCSE and O levels. So let's begin with today's lesson. Here we have the presentation, that is the introduction to the industrial development in Pakistan. Let's talk about understanding industries, a comprehensive overview in the beginning, and then in the next lesson tomorrow we will talk about the secondary industry, I mean the large scale industry of Pakistan. So first, this presentation provides a comprehensive overview of industries from raw material to finished products and explores their classifications, advantages, disadvantages, and factors influencing their location, that in which area which sort of industry is supposed to be established. So this is the beginning slide of the today's lesson, that is the introduction to the industrial development in Pakistan. Now we have certain definitions related to the industry and the industrial development which come across to us, and we are supposed to be knowing the meanings of those terms which are frequently used in this particular unit of industrial development. So number one, that is the raw material. So the basic material from which a product is made. You can see that these raw material is one of the very important outputs which are having the process to make the output whatever the industrial product is. So raw material is the most important factor which can be used in the industrial processes. Number two, refined and processed. Impurities removed or materials changed, preserved through mechanical or chemical operations. So whenever certain impurities are removed out of any of the raw material and the raw material is purified, and then further processes are implied on that raw material to make certain products. So impurities removal process or materials changed or preserved through certain mechanical and chemical operations. So that purification process may be using certain mechanical chemical processes over there to maintain the purification of that raw material, so that whatever the product is going to be made out of that raw material should be really very good quality product, so that the quality standards should be maintained and can be easily exported to the other countries as well. Next one, that is the manufactured goods produced on a large scale using machinery. Those are known as the manufactured goods, what we call the large scale manufacturing, whenever the products are made in bulk quantity, and those bulk quantities are whether consumed within the country for the local people or they are meant for exports to earn foreign exchange. So that is known as the manufactured products, or it is also known as the large scale manufacturing. Then value added products, addition of features to a product for which the buyer pays extra. For example, what we see that we have raw fish which is caught from the Arabian Sea, that is known as the raw fish, but when it is taken to the coastal areas, certain processes are applied on that to add value to that fish, and it started becoming expensive for the buyer. For example, preserving the fish, removing the gut out of the fish, removing the scales out of the fish, and then canning, salting, refrigeration, storage, all those processes, they increase the value of fish, and ultimately the fish is available to the consumers at the higher rates just because of that value addition of that raw material and the product which comes up ultimately, that is the canned fish in those cans which are meant for exports to earn maximum foreign exchange. So types of industries, now we have primary industry, the industry which provides raw material. Raw material to the secondary industry, and in secondary industry certain processes are applied on that raw material to make certain finished products or goods, that is what we call the output. And the concern with the provision of services, for example, the industry driver is the one from the tertiary sector, the engineer working in the same industry, providing services to that industry, and for the sake of providing those services, these professionals or skilled laborers, they are paid for those services, and this is how they are the people from the services industry, what we call tertiary sector of the industry. So here are the three main types of industries. Primary industry, that is the industry which provides raw material. For example, mining, mineral resources, they come through the primary industry. Agricultural products, they come through the mining industry. Fisheries and forest, these four really fields are the fields of primary sector: mining, agriculture, forest and fisheries. They provide the raw material for the secondary industry, and they are processed over here. For example, if we take one example of mining, mining is the sector of primary. For example, limestone, gypsum, coal and all these, and natural gas, they are mined over there in the mining industry, and they are processed in the secondary industry to make cement. So cement is the product of secondary industry, right? And this is what we call the output of the cement industry, and that cement is supplied to the market through trucks, through drivers, and whoever is working over here in the secondary industry and paid for that. I mean the labor, whether skilled or unskilled, engineers, technicians, loaders, all they are the people of tertiary industry, as they are providing their services to make those products over there in that industry, and they are paid after providing those services to the industry. Now, large scale industry. As you see over here in the picture, this is a big industry shown over here. Big infrastructure is there. That is known as the large scale industry. Employ over 300 workers and have fixed assets exceeding 100 million rupees. They use extensive machinery for large scale production, requires significant land and skilled labor as well. And here most important factor is that this industry has huge assets and big capital, right? I mean the money which is invested over here in this business. What are the advantages of this large scale industry? Generates mass employment. I mean 300, more than 300 people are working over in that industry. So it means that this particular single mill or factory is feeding the 300 or more than 300 families, as whatever is being earned from there by those employees over there, they are looking after 300 families back home, and it means that this is the greater employment factor, boosting the GDP, as they all are earning from there, and their income is the part of the tertiary sector, and that services are part of the GDP as well. So enables local production of goods like steel, reducing import cost. I mean, if we are not having the steel industry, for example, over in Pakistan, we might be importing that steel from the other countries to meet the local demand. But if we are producing steel over here within Pakistan, so it means that we are reducing the burden on our imports and reducing the import bill. So increases exports and foreign exchange reserves if the product is exported, right? If we are producing such product in the industry which is exported to the other countries, it means that this is definitely increasing Pakistani exports, and there would be positive sign on the foreign exchange reserves of Pakistan, and they would increase. So reduces foreign dependence on certain goods. If we are producing our own goods, definitely we are not importing them. It means that we are preserving our foreign exchange, and this is decreasing the foreign dependence on other countries. But there are certain disadvantages of the large scale industry as well. As you know that you might be getting a question that what are the advantages and disadvantages of establishing large scale industry in Pakistan, or you might be getting the 6 marks question one from here, advantages as view 1 and one disadvantage can be taken as view 2, and you might be asked to analyze those two views in the 6 marks level marking question, I mean part D of every question. So potential for air and water pollution. Whenever large scale industry is established, there is a threat of certain pollution factors. That pollution can be of water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, and even the you can say soil pollution as well, if that the waste of that industry is not properly disposed of. So this increases traffic congestion and road damages as the bulky products are moved with the help of big truck trawlers and containers. They might be creating a trouble of traffic congestion, and there can be the road damages because of the load of those products over there on those roads. Deforestation and soil erosion due to the land clearing to establish certain big industries. There might be hundreds and thousands of trees might be cut down to establish one mill or factory. That would be a greater negative impact on the environmental conditions of that area, that because of deforestation there would be big change of climate over there in that region. That would be the negative of this one. So may contribute to the rural urban migration. If in some area the industry is established, very especially in closer to the urban areas, people will start migrating from the rural areas to come down to those urban areas to join that industry for the sake of attaining the employment. In this way, that would increase the rural urban migration. That would be the cultural breakdown. That would be the decline in the agricultural production, as the people who are having their lands over there in the rural areas, they might get ignored, and there would be no agricultural production from those lands, and that would be the negative impact on the agriculture as well. Then small scale and cottage industry. Small scale industry employs 10 to 50 workers with fixed assets not exceeding 10 million rupees. They are labor intensive with limited machinery. Mostly small tools are used, and semi-skilled labor is utilized over there in this small scale industry, and limited number of workers are employed as the industry is not producing much. But on the other hand, in comparison, that is the cottage industry involves 1 to 5 employees, and often the family members only. All the family members, they sit together and they make certain smaller products which are sold into the local market at really very local level, and might be earning really very less profit. So it means that in the cottage and small scale industry there are very few employees and very limited production. And fixed assets up to 0.2 million rupees. Examples, that is pottery making pots and carpet making, utilizing local skills and material, and semi-skilled or even unskilled labor is utilized for this purpose. There are certain advantages of cottage and small scale industry. Provides large scale employment for the poor and rural artisans, those who are unable to gain any employment. They may work in the small scale industry or in the cottage industry to utilize their skills. So decrease the regional disparity and encourages small entrepreneurship, and people do not become dependent on the government, and they do not ask for more and more jobs for themselves, but they believe that they can earn money for themselves. This is a better way that this would decrease the regional disparity, preserves traditional skills and cultural identity. They would be making certain products of their own culture in their own areas. That would be the development of the culture, and cultural identity would remain intact, and those traditional skills would be flourishing in those smaller regions. And this would help reduce rural urban migration, as they might be using their own skills and might be using their own artisans work over there in their own areas, and they would not rush to the urban areas for gaining jobs over there, and would not be becoming the burden on the already limited resources of the urban areas. So that would be a plus point. So it means that what I believe, that government should be focusing more on the development of the small scale and cottage industry in the rural areas, so that the culture should be protected, the climatic conditions should remain intact, and there should be no migration factor over there towards the urban areas, and there would be decreased regional disparity, and there would be reduced burden on the government jobs. Challenges of small scale and cottage industry, as we know that these are on the limited scale, definitely they might be having certain negatives, and those negatives would be are very much visible. Financial management, as we know that the cottage and small scale industry, people are poor, people lack the revenue, people lack the capital, and they are unable to invest sufficient money on the business, so leading to low productivity of their skills, low productivity of their products, and even low quality of their products, and they do not able to earn sufficient profits out of their productions, leading to their poor standard of living, and having economic disparity among them, that they are living below poverty line. Low working capital requires skilled financial management and government support. So it means that the skilled financial management, it means that the training is not available for the people to learn further skills of that industry, so that they might be producing even better products. There is no or limited government support to those people who are working in the cottage and small scale industry, and government is not providing them with the loans and the financial support to invest more and more money in this particular business, leading to the many issues which are related to their personal lives, their economic and financial conditions, and there are disparities all around. Quality control, as in the products which are made in the cottage and small scale industries, they are not of that quality which can be considered as of international standards, and it means that whatever the products they are producing, those products cannot be exported, as they do not meet the ISO standards and standards of the World Trade Organization, so leading to the insufficient or inconsistent profit earnings by those people. So inconsistent quality can lead to sudden drops in demand and loss of customers. So for example, in some cases, the products they are producing, they are of some poor quality, and they are supplying to some even bigger supplier or wholesaler, and he believes that the product quality has decreased to a greater extent, so that a supplier, or you can say the wholesaler, would stop buying from those. This would be leading to the shutdown of the business of those small scale producers and cottage industries. Marketing burden. High marketing costs are a significant burden for small industries, as they are unable to advertise their products in the best possible way. So if they try, they have to spend a lot of money on marketing, and they are unable to do that. So it means that in this way, the reach of their products remains limited and they are unable to reach out the bigger markets for the sake of selling their products. Economies of scale, they are unable to achieve the economies of scale, I mean the profit maximization through reducing the cost of production. So small quantity purchases prevent benefits from bulk buying, increasing unit cost. If as they are unable to buy bulk quantity of raw material for the sake of producing bulk quantity of products, as they do not have those machineries are available, as they are working on the smaller scale level. So what happens that they purchase the raw material of limited quantity on higher cost. This leads to the higher production cost of the products. That is why they are unable to maximize their profit, leading to they are unable to achieve the economies of scale. Raw material quality, as you know that they are the poor investors and they are the poor producers, that's why they are unable to buy the better quality raw material. They rely on the substandard or even medium standard raw material to produce those products. So it means that because of the poor raw material, the product quality remains poor, and that is unable to reach the market maximization and profit maximization, and they are unable to reach out to the maximum people. Reliance on local potentially poor quality raw materials can lead to the bankruptcy, and finally they are unable to run their businesses and they shut down them. Limited machinery, labor intensive nature limits production variety and speed compared to the large scale manufacturing, as they do not use big machines. They mostly work on small tools, leading to less quantity of the products. And whenever something is produced in less quantity, it is expensive and it may not be able to picked up by the customers or the further wholesalers or distributors, leading to the poor financial situations of the industry, and it might shut down. Factors affecting industrial location. Whenever we are going to establish some industry, what factors we need to keep in our mind before the establishing industry? Number one, that is the site requirement. Cheaper land, abundant huge land, and well drained land for low setup costs and expansion. So it means that we might be looking for these factors. The land should be cheaper one, as to save more and more investments, and it should be abundant in a huge area and well drained. There should be the proper sanitation system or water drainage system of that area, and it should be available on low cost, so that you might not be spending more on the fixed assets, so that you might be spending more on the running cost, I mean the raw materials and production factors. Market access, proximity to large stable demand reduces transport cost and increasing profits. For the sake of establishing some industry, we might be knowing that the market should be in closer access, so that we might not be spending a lot of money on transportation to take our products to that market. So if the transportation cost is minimum, definitely the profit would be maximum. Then labor, wherever the industry we are going to establish, there should be the skilled, unskilled and semi-skilled labor available in abundance. As you know that whatever the labor is needed, that should be available in the closest, so that you might not be bringing that labor from far off, as the labor from the far off areas would be charging more, and that would be a sort of extra burden on you, on your resources, leading to far away from the economies of scale. Access to skilled and unskilled labor with low wage cost for efficient operations of the industry, that would be the plus point if that is available in the closest. So better transportation facilities and good infrastructure should be available in closest to the industry, right at the doorstep of the industry, so that you might not be facing any issue related to transport and infrastructure. Efficient transport for raw material delivery to the industry and the products delivery to the market reduces the cost and increases the profit. Then raw material, there should be sufficient raw material available very close to your industry. I mean, if I talk about the Rawalpindi Islamabad, the industry which can be established over here, that is the cement industry. As in the Margala Hills and in the closest salt range region, the sufficient raw material is available to establish cement industry. We cannot establish sugar industry over here as we are unable to find any sugarcane growing area in the closest. So we must be looking into that, how far the raw material is available for our industry. If that is in the closest, so it means that we are really very lucky to establish that industry over there in that area. Stable and cheap supply of raw materials nearby for consistent production and lower the cost of production, and you will be able to achieve economies of scale if sufficient raw material is in the closest. Power and capital, there should be the electricity supply over there in the closest and abundant. There should be no load shedding, and you should be having sufficient investment capital available to you. And if the industry needs as much capital, you should be having that one to spend, whether on the advertisements, whether on the marketing, whether on the raw material, whether on the utilities. So in that area, there should be the sufficient power supply, not be having the load shedding, and sufficient capital should be available for you to spend on your industry's development. Cheap, reliable power and accessible, flexible capital for investment and operations. Sufficient money should be there to carry out the industrial processes. So all these things, they must be with you for the sake of establishing the industry in some area. Location is really very important. So government initiatives and sector classification. So number one, that is the attracting the investors. Governments establish industrial estates, offer tax exemptions, tax holidays, and simplified procedures. They also improve infrastructure, road, railway, airports, and provide agencies to support investors with essential facilities to you. And this is how you can say that the investors would get attracted and they would be establishing industry over in Pakistan, where these initiatives or certain incentives are given to them. Formal sector, employees with regular pay, fixed hours, and registered businesses contributing to GDP, that would be the plus point. Quality is maintained and monitored over there in the formal sector, and benefits like pensions and other fringe benefits are offered, including the health insurance of the employees and their families, and free education to the kids of the employees. So all they are come under the formal sector, leading to the plus point as the flourishes. It makes the industry to flourish in the positive way. So informal sector, self-employed workers with variable income and no fixed hours. Businesses are unregistered. Quality can be inconsistent, and quality is compromised, and no formal benefits are provided. So here we have the difference between the formal sector and the informal sector. In informal sector is mostly self-employed, very much related to the cottage and small scale industry with variable incomes, I mean on commissions, and small product to product production phase is paid to the employees or the workers, and there are no fixed hours of working for the workers, and businesses are mostly unregistered. That's why they do not give those benefits of health, education, and other pension services to the workers, and they are inconsistent in working, and the quality is also compromised. That is known as informal sector, and the products are unable to be exported to the other countries, so they remain in the really very localized regions. So this is the introduction of the industrial development in Pakistan, and inshallah in the next lesson we will talk about the major secondary industries of Pakistan, that is the cotton, textile, sugar, fertilizer, cement, and steel industries. So Up till now, this is all over from my side. Do not forget to subscribe my channel RU Speaks, as Raja Umar speaks for you and you only. Signing off. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.